Scott Camoin.
Scott Camoin.
Welcome to the My Tribe podcast.
I'm excited to be here. It's my first time. Hopefully it's not the last.
First time ever on a podcast?
I've been on a podcast before. Like, I was the hype man in like a podcast.
Really?
It was about sports. And so I was just in the background, saying stuff about Patrick Mahomes and stuff like that, all bad stuff.
When was that? That
a while ago. About a year ago.
Okay.
So it was a live podcast. One of my friends is not a bookie, but he's a handicapper.
Okay.
So he does podcasts, and I was just kind of in the background, just hanging out. I just happened to be there when it went down. Yeah.
Well, you're here today because you own F45. I
Yep.
work for you as a coach here,
Awesome.
and very grateful for all the help that you've given me along my journey. And F45. How did you get into this? Let's just start there. Work backwards.
I've been a trainer for 20 years, 22 years, and my best friend is a famous CrossFit photographer.
Okay.
And so he travels all over the place. He goes to the games. He goes everywhere. He's been in here taking photos. And he actually happened to come across the original promo video that was from Australia. And he's like, you got to do this. And it was like right when the hype of Orange Theory was starting. Talking 8 years ago.
Okay.
And I was just one-on-one training. I wasn't even doing my group training that I do now. So I was like, I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm not a group. I don't put the microphone on. It looked fun. They had the DJ in there. I was like, I don't want nothing to do with it. And then fast forward about 2-3 years later, I was like, maybe I do want to do some group fitness, but F45 still wasn't on the radar. I was looking for Orange Theory, and I was looking at burn boot camps and all these things. And I was going on a cruise in Seattle, and I was at a brewery across the street, funny enough, that, I wanted to go to. I searched it out, and just fate kind of had me sitting there, like this. And I looked to the left, and I saw the banner for F45. I'm like, no way, I can't be and I sent the picture to my friend. He's like, yeah, that's it. So I went across the street and talked to the trainer. He's super friendly. He's like, you should come to a class. I was like, well, I've been drinking today, so I'm not coming. I said, I'm leaving on a cruise, so I'm going to come tomorrow. I got one day before I leave on a cruise. And I went and did the workout, and it was one of the cardio workouts. And I hate cardio, but I loved it. And it was very close to my style of training, functional. I'm looking around the class. There was, old lady versus there was a ripped guy, me and my wife. I was like, I love it. And so he's like, well, when are you coming back? And he's trying to sell me. And I was like, I'm going on a cruise, so I'm not going to be here. He's like, well, if you ever come back in town. So when I came back in town, I did a whole week at the end of the cruise. Okay. I did a whole week. And I loved it. And that's the start of my journey with F45. I did my info pack right from there. Talked to my investor that I have, my partner right now. And that was 2020 when we signed our contract. And then we went through COVID.
I was going to say, that was right before COVID?
I signed my contract for F45 7 weeks before the lockdown.
Ooh.
So we were gearing up to find places. I didn't find real estate. This place didn't even exist yet. We just had started. And COVID hit, and it was a tough journey, and we're here. So.
And how long has this studio been open?
We've been open now for 2 years and 6 months.
Okay.
Since the doors open.
Besides COVID, what was one of the biggest challenges opening this studio up?
Obviously they can't see, but it's round. So the typical F45 is in a square. And when I was looking for real estate, and I was looking for real estate during COVID, we're with masks, meeting real estate agents, and half of them didn't want to even meet you. So that was tough. Some of the owners of these buildings have pockets so deep they weren't even trying to sign contracts.
Gotcha.
So I was having a tough time finding a home, and it was a time crunch because I only had a certain amount of time of not paying royalty fees, for signing my contract.
Gotcha.
And I just happened to be across the street with Josh, who owns this building, and he was showing me. His agent just happened not to be there after today, so he came over and met me, and I'm like, no, the ceilings are too low, and he's like, well, what do you think about round? And I knew. I was like, the round building? Because this building's been here. It's an iconic building.
Yeah.
I said, let's go look at it. So we came upstairs, and it was an old nightclub that I've come here a long time ago.
Way back in the day.
Way back in the day. It's called Hot Chocolates. Every guy that comes in here is like, this is the old Hot Chocolates. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's Hot Chocolates. So we get here, we look around, and I leave. I came back 5 times.
Really?
Josh, can I come see it again? Josh I kept just trying to imagine. I couldn't find anything. And then I talked to corporate, and they were like, no, not doing it, can't do round. So I met with an architect. I'm like, can we make this happen? So we made a footprint that if you didn't really include the roundness, if you just drew a box, right, you see the box.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Okay.
Because this wall didn't exist, so it was still round all the way through. And so corporate couldn't really see it, and I kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting. You know, sometimes in life you just got to be like, this is it. Not taking no for an answer. And this was one of the. I was out of time. This was it. I felt it, and finally I got him to say yes. And then construction happened. That was another woe. I mean, construction that was supposed to take 6 to 8 months ended up taking 18 months.
Oof.
Because of COVID. Because of
materials.
Yeah, I mean, there's that pole that's right there. There's a pipe that goes from the ceiling down that wasn't in the original drawing. We could not pull out, so that held us back 3 weeks just trying to figure out how to game plan around that. And then you got to submit it to the city and all these things, and that would be my two biggest problems. And then the last one, everything comes in threes. When the day we opened, we had a mass flood inside the unit. Coming in with sandwiches from Publix and balloons, and we sold 250 memberships. We were ready to rock and roll
before opening day.
Before opening, we were rocking, and we have water running down the stairs. I'm walking in, and the two main trainers that were here at that point in time, they're calling me saying there's flooding. I'm like, what do you mean there's flooding? And I get here, and we had 36 different spots of water that was coming from the ceilings.
What?
And we dealt with that. I had to shut the club down. First grand opening day. Balloons. I got balloons. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't let anybody in. So like crazy. The story is crazy. And we sat here all day waiting. It was a tropical storm, so it wasn't a big storm. Waiting, and every time we hear a little drip, drip, we run with a new bucket, and like we're sitting here running with a new bucket. And finally, about 8 p.m. that night, I remember it was dark and like the storm had moved on, and then we started the recovery, and we dealt with it for the first 8 months. Every time it rained, we had buckets everywhere, and it was hard for me to keep clients. I lost more than half of my original client base because I couldn't open right away then, and they were like, "We're out." And it was a tough road. And then, in December of that year, our first year, we had to close down for 3 weeks because they tore down the whole ceiling in here. So this whole ceiling was gone. And I have pictures. I mean, they had to and you gotta imagine, I spent so much money building this club, and it was my baby, to then all of a sudden construction's in here, and they've got tarps going up the walls to try to protect the paint and all the equipment we had to move out. And they only been open for 7 months.
Goodness.
So then we got through that. And still to this day, we have a little bit of leaking going on here and there. I mean, it just is what it is, but nothing that shuts us down. So it took us about, I'm going to say 3 years from the start date to actually get into the motion of business, even after opening.
Wow.
And that's the story of F45. And now here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway from knowing you as a boss, coach, mentor is that you don't take no for an answer.
No.
And could you go into a little bit about that, the origin of that? Where'd you learn that value, so to say?
I had a tough life growing up, and as I became a young man and went to the Marine Corps, came out, trying to find my way in life. Sales was always my niche, talking to people, and when you got to learn real quick when you're in sales that if you just say okay, somebody tells you no, okay, well, then your opportunity's gone. So all these books. I used to do self-development books. I used to go to meetings, seminars. You've gone to seminars.
Yeah.
And I would just go because I had nothing to do. I was 25 years old, living in Florida. Like, I'll go to this seminar, and if I just learned a little bit from each one. But where I learned that part really was that I did mortgages, and it was like the pit. The guys were just money's everywhere, and I'm just 24, 25 years old, just got here, 26 years old, and I just had to make a decision if I was going to make money and survive here in Florida, as a lot of people don't. I couldn't take no. Just had to keep going. No was not an option.
Wall Street kind of
Wolf of Wall Street, not as harsh as Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
And And then once I got comfortable with it, then I had an understanding that most people will say no right off the bat. But a lot of times they say no because they haven't gotten the emotional connection to what you're trying to give them in the sales aspect. And then you look at my life, there's so many things in my life outside of sales, this business, getting this business, if it failed or not, all my other gyms I've ever had, my kids, all those things. If I had just taken no for an answer and just let things go by, then I wouldn't have experienced so many things that I got to experience because I didn't take no.
What's an example of that?
This business is number one. So for example, I have my partner investor. I had to go through about 14 pitches till I got to it over probably about a year. I'm just meeting with people, showing them my
people you knew,
people I knew, people I didn't know, people that were brought to me. I even tried an outside source company. I went everywhere.
Yeah.
And no. And I have friends. I have a friend that they had a couple dollars and they were thinking about doing it, and she even told me, she's like, Scott, I don't think it's going to happen for you. Maybe you should take your energy and put it somewhere else. And I was like, no, I know this is where I want to do. I believe in this. I feel it. So I'm going to do it. And that's that. Moving to Florida is another one. Everybody moves to Florida and they're like, how many people, you've been here, how many people are so transit, they get here 6-7 months and they're back to where they came from.
Yeah.
They don't make it.
Can't take it.
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that was me. I mean, at one point in time, I remember the only thing I would eat was like white rice and cans of salmon. But I wouldn't stop. Wouldn't stop at all. I mean, so many things like that come along the lines with that I won't accept no. I just keep going.
What brought you to Florida?
I had family here. So I've been coming here since I was a kid. Family that were way down far in Miami, family that was here, family in Orlando. And when I got home, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do in life, and I was back to work in retail. I'm like, this ain't it. And my best friend, who's the photographer, we had made a plan. We're going to move to Florida. Because we had come down here together a while ago, went to Miami. That was the vision. Like, we're going to go to South Beach, and we're going to live like we're in South Beach and be at the clubs and do all those things.
Miami Vice over here.
Miami Vice. That was the vision.
Okay.
And then we made the point to move, and I found a personal training school.
Okay.
So I talked to this girl at the JCC. I was not a personal trainer.
Yeah, no
training. I just lived at the
fitness.
JCC, right? And this girl I met at the JCC, I'll never forget. She came talk to me every single day. She was a trainer, and one day I was like, "How much money you make?" And she told me how much money she makes, and I was like, I thought about what she does for a job. I'm like, all you're doing is hanging out with people and telling them what to do. And she's like, pretty much. I was like, sounds cool. I'm in.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
Right? So I'm looking. And you have the weekend, courses, ACE, NASM, all that, and she's the one that came and told me about NFPT, which is in Orlando, and that was 9 to 5. You go; it's basically a college course. It's a VOTEC school, so not just a personal training certification. Like I never had to be vertically certified. Technically, it's a degree.
Okay.
We had to take exams. We had clinicals. We had all kinds of things. For 3 months straight, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
9 to 5.
3 months,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, I think I'm going to do this. And so my best friend says, all right, I'm going to move with you. And 1 month before we're going to move, he went to move his girlfriend back from college from Arizona State. And they drove across the United States. And I guess on the way back, he had an epiphany that he was going to marry this girl, and this is it. So now he's not coming. And I'm in Maryland, and I'm like in Baltimore with all my friends. I'm like, what am I going to do? My boy's not going anymore. And my other friend that lived here happened to be visiting, Lee Jocelyn. And he's like, hey, I got a house in Boynton Beach. I never go there. I'll make a deal with you. You can live with me for free if you just take care of my dogs. Done. I'm like, I'm going. Bye. So I picked up, moved, went to school for 3 months in Orlando. I would come back and forth from Boynton Beach and hang out.
Commuted?
No. I lived at campus in school.
Okay.
And then when I was done school, I came here to Boynton Beach.
Okay.
My first job was Bally Total Fitness. And I worked Planet Fitness front desk, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift every day up in right off of Deerfield.
Okay.
Got it. And that's how I got started.
And what age was that when you
I was 24.
24 when you got started?
Yep, 24.
Okay.
So I'm 40. I'll be 45 this year. So 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then and that's how I got here. And I just kept grinding. Wouldn't take no for an answer. And just I've been Bally's. I was the director of all the South Florida locations for personal training. I was responsible for $250,000 in revenue a month. At one point in time, I remember I had 40 trainers that worked for me at one location. It was the #1 club in the country for years.
Wow.
And then LA Fitness came and bought it and kind of smushed that whole career because I didn't want to work for LA Fitness.
Gotcha.
And that's when I started my first gym 13 years ago.
What was that leap of faith like?
Sucked.
Really?
It's another not going to take no for an answer. I tried to leave fitness and I bought a Subway franchise.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go make subs and try to get like a passive income.
Yeah.
And I found 2 partners because I don't take no for an answer. So I found 2 guys that were my friends, good buddies. And we started Subway up in Coral Springs. It's not there anymore. It's gone.
Okay.
And at the same time, I knew I didn't want to make subs.
Yeah.
So my #1 trainer and my assistant manager at Bally's, they were like, hey, let's start a gym, something small. And I was like, I don't really want it. I didn't want to get into it. And they were like, we can't do it without you.
Okay.
You're the guy. We need you to do, be the face of the business because I'm the salesman. And because I was their manager, I knew the business side of everything. They knew the training side.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so I just pennied in with them. And in the end, it took off. It's called Intense Fitness. Still on Commercial Boulevard. Yep. Yeah. I just sold it to them this summer. So I'm no longer a part of them.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Good. Congratulations to them too. I'm glad they're still going. Adam and TK, they were my partners for years. And I sold Subway too at the same time. Not this summer, but I sold Subway as that was getting started because I wasn't going to make subs.
As Intense Fitness was getting started.
Yeah, it was. Okay. It just wasn't. It wasn't. They didn't go together. And the guys at Subway, they knew it too. They were like, "Let's buy you back out for the money you put in." At that point in time, I was like, "Let me put my energy to that."
Okay.
Yep.
And that takes you to at the start of Intense. So now you started Intense, and now you were the owner, on-site manager. What did the?
It was like a 3-way partnership.
Okay.
I did most of the trainer trainings. That's what I was used to. I did a lot of the sales stuff. I mean, I did a lot of everything almost. Adam did a lot of like the paperwork, back end stuff, paying the bills, make sure the club was up and running, those type of things. And TK did a lot of the marketing kind of stuff. And we kind of just had a little collabo like that. And it went really well for years and years and years. I mean, my children were born as I had that they had little playpens in the corner of their babies, and they had to go to work with me. That's where they were. Wow. Very family style because we had all worked together for so long. We're such good friends. They were in my wedding, I was in their weddings, that type of deal. And then when COVID hit, everything shut down. I started training in my garage, and that's when the evolution of group training really started for me. One, because I was working on this at the same time.
Okay.
Same exact time, 2020. Yeah. And I started training in my garage, multiple people at one time. And now the body shop exists, the new gym, and F45. And that's how we got here.
That's amazing.
Didn't take no for an answer. That's another example.
Ooh.
COVID.
It just keeps correlating.
Yeah. It's got it with way of life. Maybe I should get some t-shirts made.
I think so.
I'm sure there's probably already one.
Well, listen, why can't yours be SC?
It could be.
What's your biggest takeaway from sales? Like, how do you prepare for a sale? What's the mentality going into a sale for you?
Number one is like, I think people go wrong with this. The young generation, I don't want to say young generation, I hate to say it, but I sound like the old guy in the room, even though the old generation said that about us, right? It's like a trickling down effect.
Everybody trickles down.
Everybody's like, when my age, I was doing this. And I feel sometimes I'm saying, I'm like, shit, I'm that guy now, right? The number one thing in sales is you got to be consistent, persistent and consistent. If you can't just do it for an hour a day and then not do it again for 3 days. Your phone calls.
Gotcha.
You got to
phone calls essentially.
Phone calls. Well, just anything. We got the follow-ups. consistency on your follow-ups, creating some kind of rapport with people. Because the way sales are today, anybody can go online and buy something. You know, back when I started.
It's all right. Yeah, there was a big difference from then to now.
It is. There was no, what are we doing, MySpace back then? You know MySpace is?
Yeah, I had MySpace, yeah.
It was awesome. Way better than Facebook. You had to get a song going on.
It was all just music.
You know what's crazy about MySpace? Not to get offside. I used to have a big Trump banner in my MySpace with him in his front.
What?
Yeah, and now he's the president. It's fucking weird. I knew back then.
You called it.
Didn't take no for an answer. Trump didn't. Anyways, you know, like then everything was by paper. You didn't have your iPhone where you could take a note to remind you. You could be like, hey Siri, remind me to call so and so. We have the technology now.
Yeah.
Then I used to have a notebook. I still have I have a notebook in my book bag. And I do like hand notes. And every morning I go back over what was yesterday. What did I miss? Who was I? Who did I call? And they said, call me tomorrow. Who did I call 3 days ago that said I'm not free till Thursday? Now we have technology that we can put reminders in for us, right? Yeah. We have all these CRMs, which I should have made and been a millionaire, and I didn't. And you know, that's the thing about sales is that like anybody can sell anything. People want to buy from people that they trust, know, and have some kind of rapport and formality with. Got it? My success in training is because I'm part of my clients' lives. They're not just a sale. Yeah. And that starts from the beginning. I truly care about helping people. Or like when I talk to somebody, like if they have a problem in fitness, we'll just say in fitness, in this world, I remember that problem and try to help them. Not, they're like, oh, I told you my shoulder was hurting. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot. Trying to, you know, and if that takes writing a note, you write a note. Okay. I do it all the time still. I'll put little notes in people's, remember that so-and-so, because I got 300 people I got to talk to now. Yeah. Whereas my personal clients, you know, I follow up with them. Even when they leave, if they had a tough time in the gym, following up with them. So that rapport and that consistency is the number one thing in sales. You know, before you get, because if, you know, everybody, you'll meet people in sales and they're like, don't take no for an answer. That's a big one. You got to get 3 no's before you get a yes. That's one, right, too. Yeah. You know, open-ended questions, all those things. And yes, those are true. If you're in a hard sales situation. But if somebody walks in this door, they're already looking for fitness.
They're interested. They're interested. Lead, yeah.
They're one lead. They're inquiring about something to do with fitness. Yeah. Maybe group fitness is not their thing. Right? Doesn't matter. When they meet me and they understand I'm being genuine to them. Hey, what are you doing? How'd you get here? What do you want to do? What's your goals? What's held you back in the past? Oh, tell me more about that. And creating that rapport immediately, right? And if they don't automatically fall in line to like, I'm in the system, I love this place, 7 days from now, hey, Pat, you told me that, you know, you couldn't start right now because we're going on vacation. Your vacation over? How was Colorado? Like, this guy actually pays attention to me, right? Because I want them to be my friends. My friends are going to get better results than the client's going to get. So I want all my clients to be my friends. And that's really, I think, the most important of sales. People don't get when they're not good at them. They'll call a hot lead and then forget about it. Well, that hot lead's like, all right, yeah, I got the phone call from them. Never heard back from them. You know what I mean? They didn't even remember my name. Yeah. Those type of things. So just having that consistency.
And yeah, that's deep work. That's consistency. That's a lot consistency. A lot of follow up. A lot of, I mean, like, I just read about the right now attitude, like taking care of it right now. How much is it seems like that's a part of, you know, your note taking, the way you're addressing things, the way you had to get this thing done. Any of that resonate with you?
Yeah. I mean, everything has an emotional connection, right? So I'm looking on my phone, right? And something pops up on my Instagram. I'm like, damn, that's cool. I want to get it. If I don't get it right now, 18 other things are going to happen before I get it, and that person has lost that sale from me, right? Yeah. If somebody comes in here and they're excited about fitness, changing their lives, getting healthier, whatever it is, and they do their first class, and I don't get them in that next class right away, stay on the pedal. They leave here and like, then they get sore. It's 3 days, and they're like, let me go try something else, or maybe later, whatever it is. So yeah, right now, I mean, that's a huge thing is keeping the emotional connection to whatever somebody's trying to do. You know, it's funny when I used to do hard sales before, and like, I mean, it's not good, but like we used to be like, you better get that credit card right now. Do you know what I mean? Like the people like that work for me, they commit. Well, he thinks like you better get the credit card right now. I don't care. Get the credit card. It's the same thing. Because if they walked out the building, we lost the sale.
Yeah.
Your percentage from 80% to buy goes down to 30, like that.
Once they leave.
As soon as they leave the building.
Wow.
So that's why, like here, we try to do trials that have longer lasting. You know,
more touch points.
More touch points.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? More activity, a second chance. You know, that first time in fitness sometimes just doesn't. It scares them, unsure. The second time, now after I've created that rapport, I remember them. I remember what they were bad at. Hey, this time in these lunges today, we're going to do it this way. I saw what you're doing the other day. And that starts to create, you know, comfortability. This is the place maybe I want to be. And now my sale starts to increase. And then try to get it. But yeah, right now, that's a big thing. It's like buying a car too. Yeah. Right? Just
went through that process.
Did you?
No, you did.
Oh, I did, yeah. I'm the best car buyer there is. But like cars, they tell these guys, get them right now. They walk off the lot. One, they're going to have to give a deal.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody knows that. Anybody's buying a car, don't buy the car then, walk off. You're going to get a deal no matter what. Even if it's the littlest deal. It's a free coffee mug. You're still going to get it.
Getting something.
Getting something. Whereas if you buy it then, they have more control over the sale.
Yeah. And what if somebody walks in, they're just like, nah, I'm not interested, not for me, nah. How do you deal with that?
Well, there's two aspects.
Yeah.
If I didn't create a rapport and I have no leg to stand on, then all I can say is, okay, well, we're here for you if you ever want. Or I can say, hey, just give me one more class. Here specifically, we use F45.
Yeah.
You have 3 different types of classes. Well, maybe a cardio class just wasn't for them. Maybe the lifting class will be a little bit more comfortable, more rest times. The music's even different. The tempo is different. The trainers are different, right? There's different trainers we have on different days.
Yeah.
Maybe the hybrids are there. So, hey, I like the vet, but I don't know that if I'm not following up.
Okay.
So a big question for me always, after they do their first class is, hey, that was a cardio class. You know, Tuesday's a resistance. Let me get you into the resistance class. And now I don't have a notebook system. Now my CRM will tell me this person just did their first class. And so my job, here goes your right now, tie this all in together. Your right now is I immediately are saying, hey, how was the class? Not tomorrow, not Wednesday. The minute they leave. So I try to be like within the hour, 2 hours of them finishing class, being like, how was the class? I'm the owner. If I didn't get to meet them, how was class?
Yeah.
Or if I was here with them being like, hey, you did great. I know you felt like you're struggling, whatever the case may be. We're going to work on those lunges that we're having a problem with. You know, come to tomorrow's class, different tempoed, and try to create that rapport and get that with them. That's if they're saying, not even if they're saying no, but try to beat them from the no. Now, if it's somebody that does a whole 2 weeks and they're like, no, this isn't for me. My first question is, what would make it for you? Okay, well, you answer that to me.
What if it's a financial obligation? It's just, this is awesome, it's great, but I just can't afford it at the moment, or it's too expensive.
I try to break it down for them. Sometimes people look at the big number and don't look at the small number. For example, our biggest price point is $200 for a membership, $200 a month, right? They only see the $200. Yeah. Okay. Target, every other place, what do they do when they sell something? $5.99, not $6, right? It's the same thing. It's all, sometimes they just have to understand that, like, well, break it down. It's $50 a week. Can you afford $50 a week? Do you go out? Yes, I go out. Okay, well, one, we got to stop going out more because you're not going to get the results that you're going to want to. You need to eat at home a little bit more. So here you go. Trade one night of going out. Oh, I can do that. You know, maybe it's something like that they don't see I haven't delivered yet. You know, I can take it all the way down to just 4 classes a month. And well, that's not going to do anything. Well, yeah, it is. Because my motto is only regret the workout that you miss. So at least those 4 days, we can control it. Now you had the app, you can do it at home workouts, whatever it is. And then hopefully that person, after a while, sees the value in it. But that's really the answer to it, is like, if they say no, 9 out of 10 times it's not the finances, because they really don't have the money, they're not walking through the door. They already looked up online, they saw the price, how much it is.
Yeah, they read it on Reddit or whatever.
Anybody can look. Do you buy something without doing a tiny bit of research?
For the most part, yeah.
Right, at something, you got your phone in your hand, Well, how much is that? Even when I see something, I'll check on Amazon what the cheaper price is.
Yeah.
We're programmed that way. They probably didn't see the value. So that's like when I work with you guys and I try to sit and, like, sometimes I feel like my coaches or my employees feel like I'm nagging. I'm not nagging. I just know the consumer, what they're going to want. And I don't want to lose the opportunity. Once they're in the system, the training, all my guys do their job. We got excitement. People are creating rapport. Everybody's friendly. I mean, all of our reviews, that's all they ever say. The trainers were so welcoming. They're very, and I pride myself on doing a good job with that. And we need to be better. We're always going to be better. Right? We always talk about touch points and stuff like that. But if we don't get them to that opportunity because, you know, they didn't see the value in what we're doing, then we lose. Yeah. You know, if I go to buy a car, I'll use a car again, and like the guy doesn't even know to tell me all the features, then I'm looking at the car, I'm like, it's a lot of money for that car.
Yeah, you don't know it's got plasma TV, you know, it's got this, it's got that.
Or I drive it.
Seats or,
you know, like I hate going on a test drive and they're like, you just go down here, go down there, go down there, go. Okay, great. I don't know. I'll give you a story. I bought BMWs my whole life. Not anymore. I drive a Chevy. Okay. Before kids, BMWs my whole life, right? When I had money.
Miami Vice.
Yeah, Miami Vice. I had an Infiniti too, and an Audi. I had a lot of good cars. I was a car guy. I like sports cars. Okay. I'll never forget. I had a client that worked at BMW out in Pembroke Pines, and when I went out to see him to get my car, he gave me to this sales guy, Billy. And Billy was my man. After a while, he's my guy, but he was mean, wasn't very friendly. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to buy a car from this guy. Yeah. No, I don't see the value. There's no emotional connection or rapport. But what Billy did was took me out on 75 in this M3, and he's like, punch it. I was like, how hard? And he's like, hard. So I'm like, it's your car. Yeah, so I, grind it out. Shit. And I'm doing like 100, 110 in this BMW. And then we got to turn around. And as I'm going on the off ramp, he's like, don't slow down. I was like, what? He's like, don't worry, the car's not going anywhere. Don't slow down. So I come out of this turn like, woo! Like, damn, this car's got some balls. Think I bought the car? Yep. For sure I bought the car. And every car after that, I would say, let's go on that test drive. Let's go to 75. Even today, when people like get out and they're like, all right, we're going to drive a car. I'm like, all right, but I need to go somewhere. We're not going to just drive this car corner to corner to corner. I need to see what it feels like. And I think that's the problem when people don't purchase something. There's no value in what they see. You'll pay for it if you see the value. And then, to sum it all up, if they're broke and they don't have enough money, then they don't have enough money. And that's okay too. Hopefully they learned something from me for their 1-2 sessions. And if I pour into them for those times and follow up with them, because I set reminders to follow up with those people 3, 6, how's it going? 3, 6, 9 months from now, 120 days from now, I have little timers that in the CRM, and I say, hey, Patrick, I know you're trying to grow those biceps. Did you yet? Or are they the same size? Not yet. All right, maybe Patrick calls me and is like, hey, all right, maybe now it's time to give you a try. I got a new job. I've redirected some income. What do you got for me? Yeah. And you'd be amazed at how many people I still get to this day just like that. Just come back in from just being able to communicate with them that long. Or the best part is like if I run into them in the outside world, I see them, I'm like, still look the same. Dog, you don't got these, baby. Let's go. But yeah, I think that's the key. They say no, you didn't show them the value. And as a salesperson, you got to redirect your delivery. But it starts at the beginning. How did I start the relationship? Did I coddle the relationship? And then did I show them enough in the time I had, whether it's 1 day or 14 days, to make them show them that I'm here, I'm that guy for them. This is the place you want to be. All these things we have. And that's what I try to give everybody.
Yeah, I think you do an excellent job of that yourself, and I think you do an even better job of passing it on. And I remember my training coming on board was very enlightening. I've been in sales, been in management before, but as you said, that where some people might see it as nagging, I certainly saw the value in those training days. And when it was even the first phone call, I call you, I'm like, oh yeah, you hire. How do you do a deadlift? Tell me right now on the phone. I'm like,
I get thrown to the wolves immediately.
Dude, I was like, hinge at the hip. Luckily I watched a video on it the day before, because otherwise I'd be shitting in bed. And but just that thoroughness, that attention to detail, that's something I've seen as I've been blessed to work here and be a part of it. What that attention to detail, where is that showing up in your life in other areas?
I mean, the Marine Corps is number one. You can't escape it, I don't know. Some people got it, some people don't. I think I'm one of them people that just has it. I have a drive to succeed no matter what I'm doing. Try to teach my kids this. Like, it don't matter if I'm folding napkins. I'm gonna fold napkins better than the person to the left of me. How do I do that? Like, well, one of the things is I got to know every bits and pieces of this, attention to detail, right? One, the devil's in the details. So one little thing can make it go wrong. So I'm big on like a little OCD, when it comes to detail and that. Like you see, I just saw some dirt there and was cleaning it before the.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't like I was like, I'll get it later. No, I'm getting it right now.
Right now.
Right now. There you go. But like that attention to detail, I think it's a rhythm. That there's a laziness, to be honest. And I think some people are just lazy and don't care about the detail. And the outcome's going to be what it is for them. It's a 50-50 shot, roll the dice. Maybe they get a sale, maybe they don't. Maybe they get a good job, maybe they don't. Maybe they're successful, maybe they're not. But pretty much always if somebody's like attention to detail, then what happens is you're always going to know where the missing element is. Right?
Yeah, if you check all the boxes and it happens to escape you, if it doesn't go right, it's pretty ideal to realize
narrow it down
what it is
and fix it for the next time.
If you're 50-50, you have 50-50 prepared. You have that whole 50% of what it was. I didn't show the value. I didn't show up on time.
Everything.
Whatever it could be, it could all.
Yeah, and even it shows to me. And we've had, we're not perfect. I've had months here where, like, I'll be honest with you, we just had our worst month in 14 or 16 months. I forgot what the date was. I looked back. And when I say worse, I mean, it was a couple grand off of revenue peak. Nothing like, oh my God, I can't pay the bills.
Yeah.
But my first thing was, okay, what am I doing? And what am I not doing? And one of the number one things I found that I really wasn't doing anymore was I was letting the gym kind of coast the night before. And so one of my things is, at night, you guys have got my text, so-and-so's coming in, they're going to need their body fat, this and that. I want my trainers to know without me telling them who's coming in, because you guys all have access to know that. This morning I asked you about what the workout is, right? Is me at night, I just take 5 minutes and just go through my class, because anybody can pop in during the day. Go through my classes all the way through the day and know who are the new people. Is this their second class? And get back to that kind of rhythm. And sometimes I'm writing those people notes, hey, did you get your body fat yet? No, I haven't. Okay, cool. You need to get there 10 minutes early tomorrow, get your body fat, and then I'm sending a message to you, to whoever it is. John Doe is going to be here, get their body fat done. Because I've found that, like, I don't know if that's the turning point where our revenue was bad, but I know that's a missing element of success. So it's time
you were doing before.
Absolutely.
And okay.
There's your 5-6 bullet points of must do's.
Yeah. And
that was one that wasn't being done. And that's, I'm the owner. That's my job. And I kind of just let it coast for a little bit. I won't lie. I let Marisa just take the reins while I'm sitting back. I'm very busy, but it takes me 5-10 minutes. And it keeps me connected with the trainers, keeps me connected with these new members. you know, and it just allows the business to have a better flow. Because I need you guys to be training as hard as possible.
Yeah.
So it's our job to look at that and just make, you know, it's not hard for me to tell, hey, Patrick, John Doe is going to be there 10 minutes early. Then you know when John Doe walks up the stairs, there's the body fat. And now there you go. There's that rapport we're building. So it all, I mean, like everything, it's like a car.
Those are the little things that count.
That
you know, matter for sure.
Car needs wheels, car needs engine, needs brakes, needs radiator, all these things. Got a lot of car analogies today, by the way.
Yeah.
Damn. But it needs all those things. You take one tire off, can it go down the street? For a while.
Yeah.
But it ain't making it far.
Well.
All right. So that's what I had to do to get back in order.
Wow, that's profound. And what I noticed there specifically is that you didn't look outward, you looked inward. When the shit's hitting the fan, successful people, I've learned, look inward. What can I do differently?
Yeah, always.
This one, that one, pointing the finger, it's really here. And then you start working from there.
Yeah, it's a trickle down effect. Especially if you're at the top, then you're the most responsible person. You know, everybody else has their jobs, but you're the number one person. So,
wow. Well, people are getting here for class.
Yep.
I want to end on that high note.
I'll be here again if you want me.
Yeah, would love to have you.
My first successful podcast. You know, next time I'll wear a shirt because it's probably, you know.
Nah, it's all good.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time, insight, and wisdom.
All right, let's rock and roll.